Hey dudes, welcome back to another episode of our Rhomas Men's Team podcast. You are about to listen to one of our prior team meetings. If you ever want to join one of our live sessions that we have every Monday and Friday, head over to rhomas.com. That's RHOMAS.com, and put your email in and we will send you a live link every time we record. We generally record on Mondays and Fridays. So if you ever want to be on the actual podcast, like we bring men up all the time to talk about their goals, talk about their obstacles, etc., head over to rhomas.com. And then also, if you want to help support the channel grow and also have access to exclusive content, book reviews, extra whiteboard sessions, etc., and some coaching sessions, head over to patreon.com and support us. We would love it. But if not, no biggie. We'll see you on the live sessions. Later, dudes. Enjoy this podcast.
What's up, brother?
What's happening, dude? Dude, I went live right off the bat. It was a mistake.
All right, let's do it.
All right, dude, I'm getting right in the mix right now. We got all right, Patty P. I'm trying to see what people are up to this week. I know, Crystal. I have my objectives pretty much laid out. Andrew Lincoln, 15 job applications at a minimum this week. That's what's up.
Fucking right.
Nice. Gone hitting the beach parties. That's fucking awesome, actually.
Oh,
very much wish I was doing.
Gunther, where are you going? What beach town?
AC.
Nice.
Boy. We got Patty P laying off the booze. Ray saw painting by Friday. Nice. Excellent, dude. Oh man, I have right now. Let's see. I'll pull it all up, dude, because I'm very organized these days. What I have going on here. Yeah, so I'm actually going to finish editing Psych Now. I did a little over the weekend. I have to do 2 podcasts this week. Me and Wes are in a little something of a fitness challenge on our watch, on our Apple Watch, and I believe that's it. Without some boring daily things I have to do. So really, it's just finish editing Psych Now, and I have another project I'm going this week for a personal thing, and then today's been pretty successful. Where and I've been talking about this for a while, of time blocking myself almost to a T. Where it's like, I got up this morning and it's like I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm half an hour I'm doing stand-up stuff, 40 minutes I just my reading period. I have a book, I research, take notes, blah blah blah. I'm doing this now, and I'm going to be chunking out my day like that to just eliminate that downtime of should I do this or that, which we've talked about before, but it's finally kind of in practice right now, which I'm pumped about.
Yeah, I mean, I could say so. Unfortunately, my secretary quit not too long ago, half a year ago, and one of the things that I was struggling with, let's say a few years ago, was I wanted to give her all of the power of scheduling everything, but I was nervous because I wasn't sure if I'd want to. But dude, I can tell you, when she scheduled everything for me, literally my goal was to walk into my office and to not think about all of the admin, and then just basically have her instruct me of what to do.
Yep.
And I was originally oh, well, what if I need a break or anything like that? Never did I find myself needing some sort of break. It was amazing, the clarity that it brought to my day, and the amount of just psychological energy I was able to preserve by not having to do all of that scheduling and have it be a decision every single time, if that makes sense.
No, dude, I had I think I might get this again now that you said that. You can get a digital assistant on those sites like Upwork, or they're freelance sites, and it's pretty cheap. And all they do, I think you know this, but you can have someone, you can pay them I forget what it is. I remember it was surprisingly not much money at all, just to have here are the times a day I need you to call and check in with me and make sure I'm on task.
Oh, nice.
And it's pretty tight. I used to have a Jamaican lady call me and just be like, Matt, what are you doing right now, Matt? And I'm like, oh, I'm bullshitting. All right, thank you. Just hang up and get back to it. It's pretty tight.
That's awesome.
I might get back to that to keep myself on task. Because my problem is I get so into the things I'm doing. I'm like, I'll just spend all day on this thing. And then I start neglecting other aspects. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing. So I've been trying to I've been trying to do this for 2 years of just getting into a systematic approach. Just I do half an hour of this, 40 minutes of this, an hour of that, without getting super into one thing and neglecting the other thing. So Today, that's my overarching agenda for the week. And then, like I said, the main things to do are just really to finish like null, the logotherapy thing. So
awesome. Have you ever considered, well, and I'll state mine. So mine still keeping them same too. Mm-hmm. Video for finance and Rhomas University. I'm not going to fucking change. I will lay on my sword every fucking week until those two things are done.
Nice.
By the way, Peak T, if anybody's ever heard of it, I'm getting real big into this stuff. PIQUE. This is the ceremonial grade matcha tea, which apparently what happens for this is during the last 3 weeks of harvesting, they put some sort of blanket or covering over the tea leaves, and it forces them to adapt apparently. So they produce multiples more chlorophyll, which is why this thing is so unbelievably green. So from my understanding so far, my research is not done, but increases the antioxidant level tremendously and all these other things. So it's very fascinating. So
tight.
If you guys are interested, yeah, Peak Tea.
It's tight. It looks pretty cool. It looks like a cool beverage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And green tea, by the way, is just enormously beneficial when it comes to overall health, cancer prevention. Every cancer book I've read always mentions green tea as well.
Oh, yeah.
So
nice, man. So your two are the same from last week.
Yeah.
Mine are one of them's pretty much the same. But again, that's the thing I will be reporting in on is how successfully I blocked my day out and eliminated my just kind of pop those little thought bubbles over my head of like, should I do this or should I do that, and blah blah blah.
Yeah. So. Well, have you considered lengthening your time block? So for instance, I know you're saying, for the day, but one of the things that I hear is if you are interested in elongating, let's say working on a project, would you ever consider, instead of having 5 different things that you work on in the day, just doing one thing per day, per week, if that makes sense? Or like wherever in between? For
sure. No, I have done that before, and it does work, but I've been finding myself, I'll get frustrated that I'm not doing certain other things. Like I'll do that to the point where I don't exercise. So I've been trying to, I need my core basic ones is I'll give up exercising so fast to do work. So it's like I have to like continually remind myself. But no, I've done that too before, where it's like, I'll just focus on this one thing this week and I'll forget about everything else. And it does work. I get stuff done, but I start to be like, I'm not doing all the other things that I kind of enjoy. Like I won't read for like 2 weeks at a time, so I'm trying to have like just a bare minimum. And it's funny you say that, because as you were saying that, my idea for the afternoon is like, well, kind of like your scorecard, but in the morning I get done like my general things that kind of like I like to do, that I find important. Again, like reading a book in the morning, taking notes, like going over my stand-up material. It's all stuff I should be doing every day, or at least for those things I can do for like a half an hour. It's not major. And then doing like one big long time block a day of like a project.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do for Psych Null today, is do like a 2-hour time block on editing, but get all that other little stuff done. So I'm not like distracted by wanting to do other things.
Yeah, no, to your point, I guess there are definitely certain things that have to be done at a frequency that's daily.
Yes.
Yeah, so completely understand that, because I used to struggle with the same thing. And I found that one of the biggest lessons I got in high school was I switched over from a Catholic school after 9th grade because my mom couldn't afford to pay for it anymore. And then I switched to a public school. But the biggest difference was the Catholic high school had 8 classes a day. And then the public high school had 4 classes a day. And dude, I liked the 4 classes a day so much more. It was just too much changing with the Catholic school. I mean, the classes were like, 40 minutes or something like that. So it's like by the time you get settled, 10 minutes after you get in, like you're already, 25% of the way through. It's very interesting. So yeah, elongating some time blocks when necessary.
For sure. No, and I feel like too, I think that'll help. Once Maya gets a little older, I'll have like a way more standard schedule. But for now, it's like kind of touch and go sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah,
that's kind of what I've been separating. Like there's things that I want to do every day, no matter what I have going on work wise, without having like work stuff consume. Like again, exercise, getting like proper, going out, making sure I grocery shopped and have like meals and shit ready. And all the other stuff, reading and so forth. So,
well, here's a question for you. How long do you think the workday should be?
Well, it depends. For like writing and like kind of concentrating mental stuff, 4 hours, dude, is for me is like a max. But
Dude, it's so funny. I was thinking the same exact thing.
it's 4 hours, I think. But then I can also spend another 4 hours of doing just like my busy work stuff, you know. And I think you can only do busy work, like legitimately do busy work for 4 hours too before you're exhausted on some level. When you have a job like you're supposed to be 8 hours, 5 days a week, like licking envelopes, you're not doing that for 8. It's just I've never done that for 8 hours. I do that for about 2 hours a day, and then I bullshit for like 6.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny enough, I am interested in testing that, because I can definitely say when I was working at a stock brokerage, and I tested for a few weeks, can I get done my 8-hour schedule in 2 hours? Just put my headphones on so nobody interrupts me. And the answer is 100%. I got done it every single time. And this was not like a cushy job. Like this, there was a lot of deliverables and so on. But I had found that just observing the office, there was a lot of people chit-chatting all the time, just a whole bunch of wasted space that wasn't really productive. And I found that, I could easily get it done in 2 hours. So, Matt, I agree with you. I think the answer that I have seen in my own life is, 4 hours of like pure concentration can get done, I would say, a lot more than a 10-hour traditional workday.
Yeah, no, it's pretty nuts, man. And again, it's like my struggle's never been kind of getting stuff done. Like if I have the time, I'll bang it out and I get like engrossed in stuff. It's just I'll start to like notice like, dude, I haven't like gotten like proper sunlight in 5 days. I haven't eaten. Mm-hmm. So that's like they're the things I'm trying to automate, because I know I'm gonna be like, let me get back to my desk, because I really want to edit this like all stuff. I did some over the weekend. It's like I love doing it. Now I have my dual monitors. It's like so much better than doing it on a laptop. But but yeah, man, that's kind of that's my eternal struggle, is like I have all these things I want in my life, and I have to like constantly keep them in while balancing my desire to like just get totally into other just the fact that you're limited and you only have so much time.
Yeah, and because I have found, Matt, that you hit on something great, which was sunlight. So if we had to reverse engineer what would be the perfect day for a human or for a man, and considering all of the essentials as well, 20 minutes of sunlight minimum on 70% of the surface area of your skin, all of those types of things, it would not look like, okay, go into work super early when it's dark and then come out of work, especially in the winter, super late when it's dark, right? And don't have as many social interactions as possible. Like all of these things, a caveman would look at us and be like, what are you guys doing? That's why you have all of this, complete shit diseases. And eat shit along the way, right? Eat really terrible food. Don't drink a lot of water. Drink some alcohol while you're at it. Like if you could deconstruct and then reconstruct the optimal day, what would that look like? And my answer to that is probably something along the lines of get up in the morning, have some time to yourself, work on stuff that's important for you, all the scorecard stuff. Go and work out for a stupid amount of time, connect with somebody you love, do all of that kind of stuff, get out into the sun for a while, and then probably around like 11 a.m. noon, get to work, and then concentrate, like have the first half hour be okay, what am I going to do, plan it out, and then be a fucking sniper after that. Like this is exactly what I'm going to get done for the next 4 hours, and then boom, and then you're done. Let's say 4 or 5 p.m. Go out and dance for a while or do whatever the hell your hobby is, come back for dinner, and then read a little bit and go to bed, something like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's a really good precursor to that. You remember the other day when I was hitting people with the question, like, what do you ultimately want? That's like hard to answer, but an easy one is like, what's your ultimate day? And you can be like, I go to Six Flags and then I eat 9 pounds of ice cream. It's like, no, if you get like your ultimate sustainable
Where does
day.
that go from?
I don't know. Like sometimes when I'm trying to delineate it between like, what's your
Six Flags right now?
I want to get jerked around on machines, convinced that I'm going to die.
Six Flags is nice though.
I haven't been in forever, but yeah,
dude,
it is.
We should go next time you come out here.
That'd be tight. Yeah,
it's a whole different thing.
Really?
It's a whole different thing. I can only do 6 rides maximum though, but
yeah, I haven't been in like 10 years, so I'm curious what the technology has done to.
It's stupid. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, absolutely. I think that's an easy precursor. If like, well, I don't really know what I want. It's like, well, what if you could actually design a day for yourself, what would that be? And then, dude, this killed me. But so again, this is part of my little daily research, this book that I've been doing. So we did the whole stuff about like how to like kind of tidy up your mind and order your thoughts and interact with thoughts in a way where you're like, this is a this kind of thought, this is a that kind of thought, and not getting carried away. The next chapter is about feelings and how it's every thought has an accompanying feeling, because within every thought there's an embedded thing within it, whether or not like we like the thing we're thinking about. We either like the thing or we dislike the thing, and that creates a certain feeling within us. Like we either desire something or we're kind of like feeling kind of averse to a certain thing, if that makes sense.
Got it.
So they're saying like becoming aware of those feelings, just like you're becoming aware of your thoughts, is like the next step in kind of ordering yourself away from, I think what they called like almost like an automated life, where like if you're just like, you're not supposed to like cut your desires out, because it's like good luck with that, but to be not purely led by the whole point. I'm just saying all that to say there's this quote in there that said, so to just once we start to observe our feelings like pop up around things, it helps not like get rid of them, but just try to start sorting them, like where is this coming from? And then you say like, say there's a thing you think you want, and the whole point, here's a quote, sorry, I'm getting kind of confused, but the quote is, many of the things which give us pleasure really ought to give us pain, and very many more that give us pain ought to bring us pleasure. So they're saying like you can kind of be following your feelings blindly without kind of assessing them, doing things that are pleasurable that'll ultimately end to just like you're on your ass and like things are all fucked up.
Oh yeah, Jordan Peterson. I just got done listening to a section of his book that was Beyond 12 Rules, or whatever the next book is called, and it talks about that. One of the things that humans struggle with is that we have been gifted the ability to play out abstractions into the future. And which is great, because he gives the example of, if you ever witnessed a pack of, or I don't know, maybe a herd of zebra sitting around a pack of lions, because the lions are just kind of sitting around, and laying and not being an essential threat, an immediate threat to the zebra, because the zebra can't necessarily play out the abstraction in the future that eventually one of those lions is going to get hungry. So humans have been gifted the ability to now not only operate off of current pleasure, but then anticipate future pleasure or future pain. But we still have very much a struggle with it. And depending on how emotional somebody is, or how susceptible they are to the whims of their limbic system, can really lead to devastating consequences in the long term. This is why, and I know I take it too far, but this is why I tend to really push people to become as rational and probability based as possible. I know that's not fun to have those conversations. I know it can come off like a robot, but it's like, your system is not necessarily created, or at least not optimized, to really consider future probabilities, or how your present circumstances and actions will play out in probabilities in the future. Yeah,
I mean, dude, it's having some form of some system at all is like, I think it's pretty important. I think it gets rid of, I mean, you can be on the point where you're waking up in the morning and being like, I don't feel good. And you're like, why do I feel like shit? And there could be a million reasons you're not even thinking of. But the idea is you can kind of like try to centralize. And I always go back to that question of like, what do you ultimately want? And you can either kind of like center what you want around your fleeting feeling states, or you can center your fleeting feeling states around the thing that you want. So you wake up and you're like, man, I feel like shit. I'm fucking grumpy. I'm sleepy. You could base your whole day, you could plan out your whole day on that feeling of like, I don't feel good, I'm kind of depressed, I'm blah, blah, blah. Or you can wake up and notice that and say, all right, but what am I after today? And then just kind of get after that thing you're after, and, let your feelings kind of mutate and change. But the thing they're talking about, and I think this ties in with what you're saying, I kind of know it does, is the whole second discipline. It's called uncoloredness, and they call it uncoloredness because they're saying you should strive to be kind of emotionally colored from the inside as much as you can. And it's like you always get kind of carried away by stuff, but they're saying most people are like a clear crystal that's like, you put it on a piece of green paper and it's green, you put it on a piece of red paper and it's red. And they're saying if you're not able to kind of like you're saying, Wes, like have some like sort of internal system of interpretation. Like, you like to use probability. Some people might like to use like I like to use like, how does this relate to the things that I ultimately want? And and you can also use probability to judge that too.
Yep.
But not having some form of system, which is even just noticing the fact that like how you're feeling, noticing your thoughts and categorizing them. If you don't have some form of system, you're kind of, I think they say you're like they call you like a slave to nature. You're just carried about on an automatic path toward usually some sort of painful encounter with something, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
I'm tired. Slam a Red Bull. I'm fucking, I'm handling a lot of stress. Let me have 4 beers and then I won't feel stressful. And it's like, you're just, you're paying attention to how you're feeling. It's just, there's no real systematic, it's not up against anything else than those fleeting little states that you just kind of constantly are taking care of that constantly add up, and then eventually you have a big problem. You're like, how the fuck did this happen?
Well, eventually you have a problem that's not only large, it's impossible at some point, or at least very difficult at some point, to realize how much of a shit show it actually is. It's kind of like, if you ever want to see me get close to passing out, just show me a whole bunch of wires behind somebody's desk. And what, like, dude, like that right there, I can almost tell a lot of things about their life.
You're talking about cord control.
Oh, dude, fucking cord control. I actually just ordered another pack of cord covers via Amazon. I mean, eventually the sort of like the vines of your life get so intertangled that it becomes borderline impossible to say, okay, well, how can I make progress? Well, you can't make progress until you untangle them.
Yes.
Right. The person I've got somebody who I know very well. It's a family member, and the doctors are telling him to get back surgery, but what the answer should be is like, no, first lose 20 pounds. Oh, well, how do you lose? Stop eating Cheerios in the morning, or like Lucky Charms in the morning. Stop pounding the Red Bull. Stop doing all these things. Oh, by the way, and also stop like yelling at everybody who's close to you. Also stop this. Also stop this. Start going to bed on time. All of a sudden, because the human brain goes 1, 2, 3, many, all of a sudden it's too overwhelming for that person.
Yep.
But if you don't sit there and untangle each spaghetti strand, it's like, good luck, because it's all reciprocal determinism. It all hits off of each other and then determines the next thing. It's like a negative feedback loop. Very, very interesting, but it's required. That's why I love Jordan Peterson's talk about it. It's like, look, sometimes life can get so chaotic you're not going to be able to understand what's going on, but just focus on making your bed first. Right, clean up your room a little bit, and then you'll notice that maybe 6 months from now, you've organized your life just enough to start working on the good stuff.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man. I feel like I harp on this all the time, but it's like just coming down in the morning and organizing my day somewhat, where I'm like, here's the core things I want to get done this week. Here are the core things I want to get done today. And whenever I enter that kind of like, what am I doing space, I just pop that thing up and go, right, here I can. Same thing with reading the goals every morning. Oh, cool. That's my year at large. That's kind of the things I'm after. Cool. And it I don't know how to put it in words, but it just settles this part of my brain that would otherwise be kind of like floating and jumping between a million things. It just goes like, it like turns that off almost. And it's like, all right, here's what we're focused on. And then again, when those other little thoughts pop up, like, I need to go to the beach. It's like, probably should go to the beach, but not right now. That is something that I'll definitely visit. But it's like, because you can easily go from, I'm thinking of if you're at like a job, you're in an office, trying to get stuff done. You're like, you're in front of a computer all day. Let me just check out Airbnbs, shit like that. And it's like your whole day gets divided. And dude, it's man, dude, planning the day first thing in the morning. I just pretend I'm in my little general's tent, and I'm in the morning, and I'm just like, all right, what are we doing here? And it's just pretty cool, man. Like it's such a basic thing, but it's Jesus Christ how well it works.
Well, and then the cool thing, we talked about this on the scorecard meeting team this morning, which is if you're getting too many wins too frequently, you're probably doing something wrong. You're playing a game that's not worth playing, most likely. I likened it to playing my little cousin at Tic Tac Toe. I kick her ass like every single time. Nice. We'll play 20 games straight. She wins 0, and I do that on purpose. But it also becomes very, very unfulfilling. Versus like, if you haven't been living that kind of life where you're working on large enough goals where the losses are pretty heavy and they're pretty frequent, well, but eventually if you keep on doing, the wins become more and more frequent and then become more and more predictable. And it's almost like you flip the psychology. It's like, oh, okay, I know I'm going to have to take 10 losses before I get one W, but I know that W is coming because I've done enough cycles. But then there's another part of it, like you start getting the W's more frequently, especially if you do them in different areas of your life. If you've been working on it for long enough. So eventually you reach critical mass. You reach critical mass of, oh man, my workouts now and my diets, I've been doing enough of them where I can start to see some abs. Oh, which by the way, we should have an ab check this Friday. Calling it out right now.
Sure.
By the way, like I got a date because I actively put in inputs on my online dating, or I've been making myself into the type of person, all these things. And then, I got a promotion, and boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden you got 4 or 5 wins inside of a week that are big wins instead of like these tiny little mediocre wins, etc. So it's all about like a marathon, not a sprint. But eventually if you do marathons in each area of your life, you start to get these pretty big wins very often. And man, like the dopamine rush that you get from that versus the piece of shit dopamine rush you get from scrolling through your Instagram every day.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it too. That is a piece of shit dopamine rush.
It is a piece of shit dopamine rush, man.
Yeah, no, I agree, man, and that's kind of my one of my obsessions of like how to take what would be perhaps a disordered or a kind of, let's even say like an inherently negatively, like a negative attitude life, and just start just giving people, again, those little wins are good for like getting yourself oriented into a system. And I agree, Wes, eventually you'll get bored with it, and it's like, okay, cool, that's good, set the bar a little higher, and it's like, well, I might fail. It's like, totally, it's fine, and just keep going up and up and up. And yeah, dude, I think that's a big thing.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Well, dude, I don't know if you're up for this, but I think it'd be cool to have maybe a couple guys on tell us what their perfect day would be, because I'm always open to hearing things from a creative standpoint. Like, dude, I live, I don't know, 12 minutes from the beach. Why am I not going to the beach? I've been to the beach maybe 17 times in 10 years since I've lived in California.
That drives me nuts to hear that. But yeah, man, I'm obsessed with that book right now. I really like it.
I know you are digging on it.
I can't stop talking about it.
No, I thought it was an outstanding conversation on Friday. Thank you for sharing all that stuff.
Absolutely. But yeah, let's see. I got Kaizen coming up. I might chuck up the Ray Dog. I'm gonna throw a couple people up here and just oh shit.
Kaizen's a killer, dude.
That's like I'm constantly thinking about, like, because it's like I've learned how to approach my day. I've set up my life so that I have the time to do these things. But I'm really, really obsessed with like getting people who perhaps are on like that 9 to 5 or 7 to 3 kind of grind, or even the overnight thing. How do you start implementing these things to kind of get yourself toward the thing that you'd rather have? And it's like, so, but yeah, these little breaking these things down helped me big time, of like ultimate day, daily habits, all that stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And one of the things, if you're in a 9 to 5 and you have a boss and all of the above, I think there are still ways of integrating some of these larger goals into your work day. Like, I remember when I was kind of working for a corporation, I would just do 10-minute little exercises. Set my timer for 10 minutes and go walk up and down the fire escape, stairs. Just those little types of things. All of a sudden, throughout the day, you got 50 minutes of cardio in without, seeming like it was 50 minutes of cardio. So there are ways of definitely integrating some of these higher level goals, even if you work for a big machine.
Yeah, and it's also like, I think one of the main things too is like a lot of people who work in these, like, let's say like a job where they're like, well, just another day, another dollar is what I do. The possibility of having like a more flexible and open schedule, it's like written off as if it's an impossibility. You get a lot of people who go like, well, this is just it. This is how it is. This is it. Blah, 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 blah. And that's the biggest thing. If you're in that circumstance of you can just like fuck around with yourself and just play games of like, dude, I need to free myself. I need to be, I need to free myself from these circumstances. And like, you're already approaching your day now with a different focus and intensity. So it's rather than like, because you have like, say you have a dickhead boss and you're like, fuck this guy. I'm going to do as little as possible because fuck that guy. And it's like, yeah, you can play that game all you want. Or you can be like, this guy is a dickhead. I want to not work for him and do something that's more rewarding and kind of like, uses my like it helps me develop and grow my own faculties rather than feeling like I'm wasting at some like arbitrary, meaningless task. Dude, you have to crush it where you're at. Even if it is some like bullshit, shitty thing, you have to crush it as hard, or just get the fuck out of there. There's two ways. If you're like, well, I can't afford it, like, well, then you better try to do that as good as you can, or find a different thing. But like, the thing that I'm always railing against is when people just get bitter and go like, well, this is just how it is, and it's like, if you say that, it will be. But I'm telling you, like, I've been in all those jobs and been like, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, and then eventually I was like, oh, I'm a dickhead. I have to, I need to do like a million and one things, not just worry about, this person doesn't know what they're doing. I should be, it's like, so that's like that's my thing. I just rail on all the time. It's like, it takes a monumental effort to not be in that place, not be bored, not feel trapped at a workplace. It takes like, it literally takes all of your focus and energy not to have that be the case.
Yeah. Well, and eventually what you want to gear yourself towards, in my opinion, my business coach helps me think this way. And I think he's brilliant, but he says you need to transition to the results economy, which is most people are on the hour based economy, which is I just go, I clock in my hours, and that's kind of my value. Now, you might have to stay there for a while because it does take some time to get into the results based economy. And this is where he talks about entrepreneurship and so on. How it should be is the results you produce are how you get compensated, if that makes sense. So it has nothing to do with the hours that you put in. Has everything to do with the value that lands on the other side of the transaction. So if you're finding yourself, when you hear Matt talk about this, it's like, oh, well, easy for you to say, you don't have to be at, work for 10 hours a day, blah, 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 and so on. And both Matt and I have done those things for many, many years. So if you're stuck in there, figure out a way eventually to get into the results-based economy, not the time-based economy. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, man. I think that's a big one. But again, that once you're in that, because I got into that sphere, and it's like, oh, now I need to be like super disciplined and all that stuff.
Look, you didn't try me into this.
Mr. Ray, what's up, buddy?
So let's just
Hey, Thea.
Ray, what's your perfect day, brother?
Well, dude, I love connecting with my dogs. I do my work. I mean, I try to do the Rhomas workout with Jake. I wake up not wanting to do it every day, but as soon as I get on there, it's just like the mental health benefits alone are off the charts. Then the scorecard. My challenge is like hitting the ground running on the scorecard, because once the scorecard practice squat is done, then hitting the ground running after. Because I'm often tempted to just go right to the medal ceremony. Yeah, I'm like, great day, gold medal. And then Matt, to be honest, when you said you were going to start up a Grand Theft Auto squad, I was so pumped. Downloaded it and just found myself I'm like, well, I got to familiarize myself with the game before I join that squad. So I was putting in 3 or 4 hours a day,
just killing it.
Yeah, just like killing people on Grand Theft Auto.
It's pretty fun.
And Thea got in on the game, and she just wanted to ride the bus and stuff. So she would find the train station, just ride the subway. And then when she wanted to drive a car, I'm like, she's like, how do I get a car? And I just took the controls and went in and just smashed the window. And she was like, so horrified. So anyway, last week, Jake, Jake mentioned something in Napoleon Hill that he was reading called "When We Get Into Bad Habits," and it can be a negativity spiral at our job that we don't like. But it really resonated with me when we get into a hypnotic rhythm.
Yes.
Right? Of life sucks. It's my boss's fault. I used to have a list a mile long of the restaurant managers that I was going to kill, and then my next restaurant job, the first restaurant manager would fall off the list. And but the problem is I did not have a results driven agenda. I was right. So I have to own up to my part of not being an exemplary employee, you know,
Right.
not showing up on time every day and stuff. And so the perfect day is starting off with my scorecard, starting off with my workout, then doing my scorecard, and then I guess transitioning to getting a couple hours of work done. Something I noticed is that a friend of mine whose daughter went to the same school as Thea, he walks his daughter around, and like he doesn't have a job. He just does like the daddy daycare thing, daddy mom thing, whatever. I don't know what the term is, but like he has his headphones in. He has his headphones in the whole time, which is not showing up for your kid, right? Like you're physically there. So something I've started doing is taking off the headphones and just spending more time with Thea, like reading to her, like reading a book with her is the last thing I want to do. But we've got this book of like Irish legends for kids, which is like each legend is about a page and a half, and but it's like they're edited in a way where there's just like no arc, and they just kind of end abruptly. So like Thea and I read these, and we're like, "What the hell is this about?" So then we'll go on Google and we'll like try and get a better version. So a little bit of work. I don't want Thea to become a stripper, so like a lot of quality time with Thea.
Yep.
And and that's my goal. That's my goal, to spend like a little less time with my headphones on.
Nice, man. I feel like everyone you talk to, it kind of boils down to like doing something for yourself physically, like body wise.
Yeah.
Some sort of creative endeavor, something like that. Something nutrition wise, or I guess you could go to body wise, then like a period of work, and then like relationships. I feel like it kind of the perfect day hits those spheres. Almost like I feel like we're just reinventing the scorecard.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It helps to. It's so funny. It always comes back to that. But it helps for me. It helps me to personalize everything, because there's like you have the scorecard, then you have like Ray saying those kind of more emotional ties of like, well, I want to spend more time with my daughter, and like really fleshing those out helps me like connect with them more, I guess I should say.
Yeah, like the macro scorecard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gunther's bringing up a really good point. He said for us to talk about recovery, he's spot on. He is so spot on, man.
Yeah, I'm failing at that right now. And
reward as well. Like I don't know if reward is recovery by some definition, but like that came up in our marriage counseling last week, where it's like is very results driven and on to the next thing. Like we can never achieve true excellence. It's always got to be better and better. And our Gottman guy said, like, if you take out the reward, the brain is less likely to make the effort the next time or something. Or maybe you, Matt or Wes, like you've mentioned, Wes, you've talked about this before, right? The importance of the reward, even if you don't think it was a gold medal performance.
No, I think you guys are spot on. Yeah, and it's making me think if we should even put that in the scorecard as well, like some sort of reward based, like take your fucking trophy, right, and enjoy it. And then also some sort of recovery, to Gunther's point, I think is spot on. Spot on.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Because again, the whole point for me for this, again, that's why I'm kind of obsessed with the thing I'm reading is like Ray, I love the idea of hypnotic rhythms. How to snap yourself out of hypnotic rhythms. And then, like, if you're not in a hypnotic rhythm, what would your self-constructed version of life look like if you snapped out of the old, like, boss needs me there at 7, TV show's on at 5, and I just kind of move through the motions, and then 20 years later, I'm like, what the fuck's going on with this, and blah blah blah. It's like, how do you get away from that, and how do you kind of self-create your life a little more?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, because when Jake said that language from Napoleon Hill, it just hit me like a lightning bolt, because I asked myself, like, why was I excited when Matt said he was putting together a GTA squad? I was like, oh, I get to hang out with Matt. And then what was the result? I'm playing like 3 hours of video games on my own and like slamming down the computer every time my wife walks by.
I know.
And so
I gotta power down the monitors every night. I just reach behind, like switch my laptop.
So it's and so then when Jake said, I realized, like, If I want to hang out with Matt, I just send him a message. I don't like activate my dark side and just play video games all day. You know, like it's so that when he said when he used that language, hypnotic rhythm, it just hit me like a lightning bolt.
Yeah, it was almost like I totally hear you. And that's one thing too. I've been trying to, I need to set those things up more regularly because I got all set up to do it. And then I'm like so busy that I'm like, I'm not even I need to like have a block time out to do that. But and that's something that's funny I was thinking about yesterday. But yeah, man, that's, what else we got going on, Wes? It's about 12. And I think that's
anyone on any of the dogs reading or any of the dogs watching the Euro Cup of Soccer. I don't know if that's a big thing in America. So Euro Cup, that's like World Cup, except just among the European nations, right?
Interesting.
So guys who look like me. And it was, I'm just so into it because, again, hypnotic rhythm. There's a game at 9, a game at noon, a game at 3, you know? And it's...
Gunther said Americans watch real sports.
Oh, please. Please, man. Hey, you should see the dance moves, Wes.
I'm not hating.
When they pretend to get hit. When they pretend to
crazy.
Their foot gets stomped on. Yeah. Anyway, so again, sports I guess can be a hypnotic rhythm as well.
Without a doubt.
Dude,
Yeah, without a doubt.
No, dude, it's like the ultimate. See, that's my. Again, I always you talk about this too a lot, Wes, of like trying to make this as interactive as possible. So it's like there's always a little bit of a practice to everything, and I think that is again trying to orient your life around the thing that you want, figuring that out, setting up some form of ultimate day, so that way you could, especially with a significant other, dude, if you could like map out a sick day, move to do. If you're ever, you're like, here's what I'm doing today, and pretty tight. Snapping out of hypnotic rhythms, and again, daily habits, dude, huge if you don't have them.
100%. No, I think that's a great chat, man. And so we got down our goals. Ray, just real quick, what are your goals for the week, bro?
Ooh.
Uninstall Grand Theft Auto. I've got to sell a painting by Friday and lose 5 pounds because I went up to cottage country and I ate my weight in ribs and like potato salad. So 5 pounds, sell a painting, disrupt the hypnotic rhythm.
Yeah, and we got ab check this Friday, bro. So Ray, we're gonna bring you up. We got to bring you up.
I still got one foundation ab that I can stand up on.
Hell
yeah, let's do it.
All
cool.
right.
All right, dudes. Have an awesome fucking week.
Later, bros.